Categorical imperative refers to those things that become objectively necessary in themselves, and we are not even able to understand as to how or when they have become objectively necessary in themselves, and now we want those things in our life, and we do not even have the awareness or the understanding as to what those things are in themselves and as to why we want those things in our life. But we want those things because they are and they have become, as a matter of fact, objective necessities, and that means they are categorical imperatives. Now, objective necessities refers to objects, a material and possession that we sometimes become obsessed with, and as a result of that, we want those things in our life regardless of what happens, the consequences of whether or not we can get those things and what will happen afterwards. We do not care because they become objectively necessary in themselves, because they are objective necessities. But we do not necessarily understand the nature of these things or objects that become necessary in themselves, because the nature of these objects remains because we cannot really understand or appreciate the nature or the quality of objective necessities or categorical imperatives, but we can only say and conclude that we sometimes want certain things in life regardless of circumstances or consequences. But because they become categorically imperative or objectively necessary in themselves, they convince our mind directly or indirectly to get those things no matter what, and that is what we are doing, and that is also what is exactly happening in modern society. People are getting overcome by objective desires, and people, as a matter of fact, have been overcome by objective desires and objective necessities without understanding, analysis, or explanation as to when or how they want those things and what purpose they're going to serve in their life. But people in the society want only objects and things in their life because they consider those things, or they have already become, the objects, objective necessities or categorical imperatives. And that's why people of the society want in their life things that they do not necessarily understand the use or the purpose of, such as a costly car or an expensive phone that is not necessarily valuable, worthy, or meaningful in the life of an individual person, but because that thing has transformed or become an objective necessity or a categorical imperative, now that thing actually controls and influences the mind of the person in all ways possible, and the person now wants the thing and he satisfies his desire of wanting and getting and possessing the thing that he wants, and he gets it. So that is what is happening in the modern society. We are being constantly bombarded with different modern technology, science, and objective creations that are constantly overcoming our mentality and making our mindset desperate to get those things in our hands as quickly as possible or as fast as we possibly can, because we have been brainwashed into believing that getting those modern objects into our life is going to somehow elevate ourselves, make us better, and that it's even going to make our life better. But that is not necessarily the case. making life better depends primarily on ourselves and our ability to make ourselves better through character, integrity, morality, honesty, loyalty, kindness, understanding, empathy, and so forth. These are the moral qualities that have the power and the potential to improve and elevate ourselves and our life and make everything better for us. These are the qualities that are truly capable of change, and they change our life. In fact, they improve our relationships in the present, they improve our understanding of ourselves as well as the other people in society. But getting or possessing objects as part of objective necessities out of desires is not going to solve anything. Objective desires and their subsequent satisfaction because of the mind's obsession with categorical imperatives is not going to provide us with genuine happiness, content, satisfaction, peace, prosperity, or anything of that sort, but it's only going to satisfy a temporary desire of the mind, which is going to be followed by other unnecessary objective desires as part of objective necessities in the modern society. And we may have to constantly buy or get those things that the mind wants us to get, or because they become objectively necessary in themselves, as I said earlier. So there is no way out. There seems to be no way out of this vicious web of objects and possessions and objective necessities that are constantly overcoming the minds of men and making them buy things that they do not necessarily want in life, but they are buying things in one way or another through any means necessary, because the means do not matter for the modern people. The end matters, and the end is the possession of objective necessities in their hands, and they are getting their way by hook or by crook. They are getting the money by any means necessary, moral or immoral does not matter. They have a character or they don't have character, integrity, morality. Nothing really matters when it comes to objective necessities and their subsequent satisfaction through mental desires. And that is what is happening to us also. We're also getting overcome slowly but steadily by constant objective necessities and mental desires that we cannot necessarily oppose, resist, or suppress either. And we have to exercise those desires and fulfill our objective demands that are being created by the mind as part of categorical imperatives or objective necessities. So, objective necessities or categorical imperative are those things that demand satisfaction by the person or the individual as part of their being objectively necessary in themselves, but we do not necessarily know as to what these things are in themselves or what purpose they are going to serve or they are capable of achieving in reality. But we simply want those things because we are obsessed with their possession, and we are in fact getting those things or whatever it may be, a car or a mobile phone. It could be anything because it's all objects. Modern society, capitalism, and the other corrupt philosophies that are currently governing the society are based on the creation of modern technology and objective necessities that actually oblige or force the person to move forward, push ahead, and satisfy his mental desires of getting the many objective things or necessities that he wants in his life, even though it serves no purpose whatsoever, or it creates no meaning, significance, and worth in his life. And in general, people do not become meaningful, worthy, and significant by possessing or acquiring objects, possessions, or by satisfying their objective necessities simply because they are mental desires. So, desire and its subsequent satisfaction does not necessarily produce or generate meaning, worth, significance, or value, because it's all empty desire, which is driven by mind and its quest for pleasure that we uh, um, have to satisfy anyways, but we can resist actually if we have the character, integrity, morality, resistance, and persistence to oppose. And we need to oppose this trend of getting new objects as part of objective necessities because they are or they become necessary in themselves without any explanation or analysis. And we also do not understand as to why we want those things in life and what purpose they could serve or they are capable of fulfilling in our life, but we are somehow getting those things, we are purchasing those things by any means necessary because the means do not matter, because the end is so important and indispensable for the men in the modern society that they are anyways or however going to get the objective necessities that they want as part of their mental desires and quest for pleasure, even if it is empty, hollow, and meaningless, worthless, anyways, and even if it makes the people also meaningless and renders them desperate, sorrowful, and sad by the end. So that is what I mean by categorical imperative. Desires which become mandatory in themselves and demand satisfaction. Desires are to be satisfied by us as part of categorical imperative, and it also refers to objects and objective necessities that have become a permanent part of the life of men in modern society, and they are constantly fulfilling their unnecessary, unpurposeful, objective desires as part of objective necessities, even though they do not understand what those things are in themselves or what purpose they can serve in their life. But because they are costly and good looking and shiny, people just want objects and costly things in their life no matter what. So that is what it is.